You know that feeling, right? You get this amazing idea for a 3D model, but then you're just stopped cold by some crazy complicated software. Well, today we're going to talk about a tool that lets you basically step right through that wall and start sculpting your ideas with your own two hands. We're talking about Kodon.
All right, so here's our game plan. First up, we're going to tackle that big, annoying wall of traditional 3D modeling. Then, we'll dive into how VR is opening up a whole new dimension for artists. After that, we'll properly meet Kodon. We'll also get into the perks of jumping in early, a super clever way you can try it out for free. And finally, we'll ask that huge question. Is this where it's all headed?
Okay, let's start with the problem itself. For way too many aspiring artists, the dream of making cool stuff in 3D, well, it crashes right into this very real, very frustrating barrier.
I'm guessing a lot of you are nodding your heads right now. You have this killer idea, you fire up some powerful 3D program, and bam! You're just staring at this grid of 1,000 buttons, endless menus, and words that make no sense. That initial creative spark just fizzles out, doesn't it?
And this is the core issue, right? We're trying to build something that exists in 3 dimensions, but we're forced to do it by poking at it through a flat 2D screen with a mouse. I mean, it's like trying to sculpt a statue while wearing oven mitts. That awkward gap between your brain and the screen is a massive hurdle for so many people.
But what if you could just step inside the canvas? That is exactly the promise of virtual reality. It's offering a completely new and, honestly, a much more natural way to create. Look at this. The difference is just night and day. On one hand, you've got the complex user interface and all the guesswork of desktop software. And on the other, you just have the freedom to reach out and make something. You're not clicking buttons to tell a computer what to do. You're physically shaping the model with your hands, like it's a piece of clay floating right in front of you. It's moving from abstract commands to just pure intuitive action.
So, what's leading the charge in this new world? Well, that brings us right to the main event of this explainer. It's time to meet Kodon. So what is Kodon exactly? Well, it's a sculpting program that actually works both in VR and on a normal desktop. But here's the thing you have to get about it. It's ambition. This isn't just some fun little toy. Nope. This thing is being built from the ground up to be a full-on, professional tool for making assets for games, for movies, you name it.
And let's be crystal clear here. The goal isn't just to be a cool VR experience. It's to be a serious, powerful creative tool. The developers are aiming to go head-to-head with the big, established desktop programs that the pros have been using for decades. They are literally building a tool for the next generation of professional creators.
So you're probably thinking, okay, can my headset run this? Good news. Kodon supports a whole bunch of the most popular PC VR headsets out there. Everything from the Oculus and Vive families to the Valve Index and Windows Mixed Reality gear.
Now, here's a really important piece of the puzzle. Kodon isn't technically finished yet. It's in what's called early access, and that actually creates this awesome opportunity for anyone who's thinking about jumping in.
What that means is you can go buy it and use it on Steam for Windows right now. But you gotta know it's still a work in progress. The team is constantly in there, adding new features, fixing things, and making it better all the time.
And probably the biggest benefit to getting in early, the price. The devs have offered discounts in the past, like this 15% off deal. The thinking is super simple. Buy it now while it's cheaper, because the price is expected to go up as the software gets bigger and better.
It's really a win-win situation when you think about it. 1, you get the software for less money. 2, your purchase directly helps pay for the development of this cool tool. And 3, you're totally future-proofed. You get all the future updates, all the way to the final version, without ever paying another dime. Okay, so this all sounds great, but maybe you're still not totally sure. I get it. Well, it turns out there's a fantastic, completely risk-free way to take Kodon for a test drive yourself.
This is one of those awesome little pro tips that you'll be glad you know. It basically lets you use one of Steam's best policies to give yourself a free trial.
Seriously, it's this simple. Steam has an amazing refund policy. You can buy the software, download it, and play around with it. As long as you've used it for less than 2 hours, you can go request a full refund, no questions asked. It is the absolute perfect way to see if Kodon's workflow feels right for you before you commit.
All right, so with all that said, let's zoom out for a second. Let's think bigger. Beyond just this one program, what does the rise of a tool like Kodon really mean for the future of making, well, anything digital?
This quote from the developer really brings everything full circle. Remember that big, scary wall of complexity we talked about at the very beginning? Well, the entire goal here is to just tear that wall down.
to replace it with something that's just as powerful, but way, way more intuitive and actually fun to learn.
And here's the bottom line. What we're seeing is a fundamental shift. A move away from this abstract world of clicks and menus and towards a future where we can physically grab our digital ideas and just shape them. It's about making creation feel less like coding and more like sculpting. It's a more human way to create.
Which leaves us with one last really big question to chew on. As these VR tools get more and more powerful, are we about to enter a time where an artist's studio isn't a physical room anymore, but a space that exists entirely inside a headset? It's a wild thought, isn't it?